So last week, Donald Trump had a very, very bad week in the United States judicial system. Obviously, he lost his big lawsuit to try to stop his records from being released by the National Archives to the January 6th committee. He has appealed that ruling, and he did get a stay, an injunction on releasing those this past Friday. Of course, in D.C., the lawsuit against the Trump Inaugural Committee was allowed to move forward. But then late in the week, the former president actually scored a little bit of a judicial victory. But it didn't happen because of anything Trump did. It's because Summer Zervos, the former Apprentice contestant, decided to drop her defamation suit against the former president. This is a lawsuit that has been lingering in the court system for 5 years. And late last week, Zervos said, enough with this, I'm done, we're not moving forward. But there's a reason for this. It's not just because she said, I'm tired, 5 years of legal fees is a lot. And I'm sure it was a lot. That probably played a role in this. But she was essentially released, and she is now free to talk about it. So it's not entirely a victory for Donald Trump because she can now go out there and tell her story. But as far as the defamation case itself goes, just in case anybody doesn't remember that, she had alleged sexual misconduct on Trump's behalf against her several different times. When she came forward with these allegations, he came out and said, nope, she is a liar. And she said, you can't call me that. I'm suing you for defamation. I actually said in a video within the last couple of weeks that's a pretty weak case. Look, I am 100% on Summer Zervos' side. Do not get me wrong about that. But somebody calls you a liar and you sue them for defamation, that's a weak case. That is an exceptionally weak case. Because even though in the defamation suit, the burden of proof would in fact fall onto Donald Trump to prove that what she said was a lie, she also is unable to prove what she said. And because the courts in these particular instances tend to give the benefit of the doubt to the accused, Trump's team would basically just go out there and say, this doesn't exist and we can prove it doesn't exist because you can't prove it does exist. And I know that sounds a little weird, but trust me, I've seen enough of these cases to have a pretty good handle on what happens with them. And then at that point, it's okay, what's your evidence against us? You know, you got to go through the discovery process and all that too. So this was a very weak case. And I do think this is actually a pretty good outcome for it, right? She may not get any kind of financial restitution from Donald Trump, but she's free to tell her story. She's free to let the public know what happened. So, silver linings there. A weak case, not going to clog up the court systems anymore after languishing there for 5 years. And Summer Zervos gets to tell her story to the American public. To be honest, I consider that more of a win for Zervos than I do for Donald Trump. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you want even more Ring of Fire, we encourage everyone to like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe. And don't forget, you can find me on all social media outlets at Fair and Balanced.